Hey, Owen Newkirk from DLLS here.
Owen Newkirk is not here, but guess what? Some other people are. We're going to go. Let's start the show right now. Welcome to the DLLS Dallas Stars podcast. I am not Owen Newkirk. I am Sam Nestler, joined by two-time Stanley Cup champion Craig Ludwig and special guest Robert Tiffin, Dallas Stars beat writer for Stars Thoughts on Substack. Owen's not here today. He is back on the East Coast for a death in the family, so we are left to do whatever we want.
Hold down the fort?
Hold down the fort. But
Or burn it down?
Before we get into the chaos, let's talk about the DLS Diehard sale, because there is an amazing sale going on right now. There are two options for you. Either the intro $36 offer, which is the standard Diehard sale. You get a free shirt. Join at $36 for year one. Limited edition Diehard shirt and all the Diehard perks like 20% off merchandise, 20% off events. You get the welcome kit, the fancy card that I still have not gotten, plus access to the Discord, which we'll talk about in a second. The other option, a $59 hat offer where you can get yourself one of these amazing branded Bills custom Diehard hats like the Yosemite Sam one that I've been wearing on recent shows. That also comes with all the full Diehard access and all of the perks. Being a Diehard gives you a lot of good stuff, including access to that Discord, which we will use some of their questions today in the last segment. Let's talk about those Dallas Stars, okay? We have Sean Shapiro to join us as well. Sean Shapiro is also here. Let's bring everybody in right off the bat. We're going to talk about some money. So lately, some contracts been going around in the NHL. Kirill Kaprizov was the big one, the record deal of 8-year, $136 million, $17 million AAV. Let's start with that before we get into anything else, because there's a certain player in Dallas that might reflect on. So before we get to the Dallas side of it, Sean, can you take us through the structure of Kaprizov, since it's not necessarily a straightforward deal here?
I mean, well, it's the cap part is straightforward, right? Like it's
Yes.
17 AV for 8 years. It's the richest deal in history. It's the fascinating part about the whole thing is, and it's Bill Guerin had his owner who basically said we're going to spare no expense to get this done. And so that is how you structure a contract that's sparing no expense. It's each year. I believe it's an annual actual salary of $1 million per season, and then a bunch of 16 million. I think it's 18 million a couple of years, 16 million of July 1st bonuses. So July 1st is going to be a very lucrative day for the Kaprizov household, and a big check coming out of Craig Leopold's pocket. And I just wonder how Kirill's going to handle the other 364 days a year where he's not getting an $18 million check. I feel for him. And but it's a funny deal, because it's one of those deals that gets done before the new CBA kicks in, and there's a couple. An 8-year deal, for example, won't be allowed under the next CBA once that kicks in. The amount of the way this is structured, signing bonus wise, won't be allowed that way. So it's an interesting one where it's not a precedent setter, because it's not a precedent anyone can really follow long term. But it is kind of going to be one of those deals where you're going to look, and we're going to look at it 3-4 years from now and remember, oh, that's how they used to be allowed to do things. So it's kind of one of those. It's an interesting deal from that perspective. And I know you guys talked about it when things were probably talked about it already. It's a deal the Wild had to do, and obviously Bill Guerin, a friend of this show, I'm not sure what else he could have done. He had to get this done. So,
yeah, Sean, I was wondering, because in the early stages of this thing, it sounded like Kaprizov had kind of gone to Billy and wanted to know what the future looked like. You know, as far we've heard that from Connor McDavid of late too, and I don't know if he took a line out of there, but to be able to say, I want to win when I'm here too. You know, I mean, because Minnesota hasn't brought in the right players all the time and really given them a chance to get over the first round hump. And I just wonder if the extra million that he got when he wanted the 16 or whatever it was, and what it allows Billy to do now, though, is since it's all basically on the 1st of July every year, there's a lot more money sitting around for Billy Guerin to go out and add some pieces to this team over the next couple of years if he sees the right opportunity.
Yeah, it's the interesting thing that Bill's going to run into is I think he's still going to have, like, Kirill Kaprizov getting 17 million versus 14 or 15 million doesn't really change him being able to get another quote unquote big piece, right? Because we always heard over and over again the cap is going up, all that stuff, right? And he's got some other good players already that I think you can build around. Like Matt Boldy, I think, is a hell of a player. I think he's someone who you've already got in the fold. What it does put when you have players like this, when you have one player taking that much of the cap, all of a sudden you really have to be able to sell your program, your long-term build and chance to win on guys who probably could make 4 or 5 million somewhere else. We need you to make 2 or 3 to come to Minnesota, and that's the real challenge for Bill Guerin right now. And is Kirill Kaprizov, is he enough to sell a guy? If you say you're a guy who's in that middle class of the NHL, the $4 to $5 million range, and you and the Wild want to sign you, is playing with Kirill Kaprizov enough to be like, hey, that's worth making 3.5 instead? And that's going to be the challenge for the Wild roster building over the course of this when you have that much going to one player. They'll be able to get another big guy. They'll be able to take one more swing with how the things go and things coming off. But it's the middle build where Bill is going to have to prove whether he's a good GM or a very good GM, and it's fascinating.
Yeah. So Robert, speaking of making things work and having complications,
Yeah.
there's a certain player in Dallas, Jason Robertson, who's in year 4 of 4.
I've heard of him.
Becomes an RFA next year. We know from Sean's reporting and that they want to sign him. They've been trying to sign him. What's your initial reaction around Jason Robertson when you see the deals that are going on, especially Kirill Kaprizov?
Yeah, the Kaprizov one is interesting because, like Sean said, your pitch now to other players is take less to come here and play with a guy like Kaprizov, and that's why it's kind of crucial, I would think, for Minnesota. You got to get out of the first round this year. You have to be able to sell some sort of playoff hope to potential players that you're going to bring in, but getting out of the first round in the Central is probably the toughest thing to do in the NHL playoffs. So they've got their work cut out for him. On the Jason Robertson side, you have this player who has got to be drooling, basically, looking at that contract and knowing I'm younger, I've been more durable, and I've been he's got the same amount of points as Willie Nylander in Toronto over the last 3 years, and he's played every regular season game.
Yep, here's his stats up here for you.
There you go. This is a player who, say what you will about different aspects of his game, but players like that are not very common around the league who can score at that rate, and scoring is, in a lot of ways, the hardest thing to do. So if you're Jason Robertson, maybe you don't ask for 17, but you know that suddenly that Mikko Rantanen deal is probably closer to the floor of what you're asking for as opposed to the ceiling.
And that's the thing, right, that I found most notable. I wasn't going to bring it up until we started talking about Robo, but there was a quote in the article about, I think it was NHL.com when Kaprizov signed, saying, look at the numbers already. March 7th, Mikko Rantanen signs for $12 million. Is Kirill Kaprizov worth $5 million more than Mikko Rantanen? No chance is the way they worded it. But that's not the worry right now, right? It's the market changing so fast. So if you're thinking Jason Robertson, obviously RFA, so team control beyond that, what kind of numbers are we looking at? Either Luds or Robert, anyone. What numbers are we possibly looking at? I mean, how high is this ceiling that he could be asking for? And on the other side of it, how high realistically can Dallas even go?
It's a good question, because if you're Jason Robertson, your ceiling is, the sky's the limit almost right now. But if you're Dallas, you try to sell him on the vision that you have and why you should essentially take less to stay in Dallas, as other people have done. We even know Mikko Rantanen took a little bit less because he knew he was taking less, but ultimately that was kind of the last little piece of that 8-year extension that went along with the trade from Carolina at the deadline was his agreement. Okay, $12 million, I'll take that. It's worth it for 8 years in Dallas. you have to sell Jason Robertson on why the next 8 years or 7 years or whatever that deal might be, why that's still worth leaving $2, $3, $4 million a year on the table at least.
Can you pay him as much as Mikko? Would you pay him as much?
That's
as
the
Mikko?
big one. I think you guys, Sean and Robert, did an combined article on Substack today, so check that out. You brought that up. It's not. I'm with you, Sean. I think you said it. Yeah. It's not. It shouldn't be any more about your guy setting the ceiling on your team, because like the conversation of we can't pay someone more than Miro Heiskanen, it changes every year, and now even more so with the cap going up and the market changing. I don't think you can look at it like that anymore, right? Can you look at it, Luds, and say Mikko Rantanen's making 12, we can't pay someone higher than that? Or do you look at it as this market is changing so fast?
That went out the window, right? I think, for a lot of players. I mean,
is that do anything in the room though for someone? Like, is
no,
it really
because
matter if you're the highest paid player anymore?
They're waiting for their turn.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at Wyatt's contract 3 years from now.
Yep.
You know, I mean, like we were talking earlier, and I said, what happens if Wyatt scores 40 goals this year? 35, 40 goals, and in 3 years from now, you know, you've got other players in the league that are making
twice. They could be
14,
making twice
15,
what he's making.
Yeah, exactly. So, listen, when you compare Kaprizov to Robo, though, which player do you want in your lineup?
Healthy.
I'm looking at you.
Healthy.
Yeah.
That's the key. If it's healthy and they're both playing 80 games, Kaprizov.
Sean, I have my answer, but I'm curious. What do you think?
Sean?
It's an interesting question. It really is. If I'm the Minnesota Wild or the Dallas Stars, just a serious question, because I don't think Kirill Kaprizov works well in Dallas. I think he's a hell of a player. I think he's a one-man play driver. I think he is a superstar. I think Kirill Kaprizov will thrive in a spot where he can be the centerpiece and drive other things, and you have one or two guys riding shotgun with him. I don't think Kirill Kaprizov would be the best fit in Dallas. I think Jason Robertson is a better fit for the Dallas Stars than Kirill Kaprizov is, if that makes any sense. I know people are going to think this is not you asked which one would I rather have in life. If I'm the Dallas Stars, I would rather have Jason Robertson. If I'm the Minnesota Wild, I would rather have Kirill Kaprizov, because I don't think Jason can be that solo, that one guy. I think he can be the part of a pack of 2 or 3 leaders on a team. He can be part of a big 3 or 4 on a team. I don't think he can be the one. Kaprizov is an alpha type player who can do that. I don't know. The Dallas Stars can't afford to pay a $17 million player to do that. And I don't really think that he would fit the same way. So I would take Jason Robertson if I'm the Dallas Stars. That is not saying Jason Robertson is a better player. I'm just saying I would take Jason Robertson over Kaprizov on the Dallas Stars.
Well, and that's the question too. You have to look at the whole situation, because if you were to ask me, like, you have Game 7 in the playoffs, which of those you could only have one of those players in your lineup, healthy Kaprizov or healthy Robertson, I think most people would say you take Kaprizov. He's explosive. He's got those tools. But if you're talking about who are you going to pay for 8 years at a premium to be on your team, then you have to have all those other factors into consideration. And again, Robertson is younger. He's been more durable, more consistent, and he does score. And those are important things. So I think I can see that argument to why you might actually want Robertson as your guy long-term, especially with the fit in Dallas, like you said.
I also go with this. Kaprizov has never played, more than 65 games in a season? That's the other thing. Am I going to pay... Everyone gave all of this junk to the NHL about, oh my God, you can't pay a goalie this much because we can't pay a goalie close to $10 million because you can't pay someone. It was the Shesterkin discourse. You can't pay Shesterkin close to $10 million because you can't pay someone who's going to play 60 games. Okay, why didn't that come up with Kaprizov? Right? Why are we not going this guy's track record is he can't stay healthy, he can't play more than. So it is that's the spot that gets. I use the same thing. You kind of the throw for anyone from Minnesota who's going to start saying I throw rocks in glass houses. Roope Hintz makes a good amount of money for what Roope Hintz does. If Roope Hintz was healthy for 82 games a year, pay him $3 million more a year. If Roope Hintz was Roope every single day, so it's Kaprizov is very much like Hintz to me, where he's a better version of Hintz because I think he brings more of that from game to game. He doesn't coast sometimes the way Rope does, but I'm going to look at it from the same lens that way, where I think it's the deal Minnesota needed, and it's the best deal for Minnesota, honestly. But from the Dallas Stars winning a Stanley Cup, you're more likely to win I think your Stanley Cup chances are still pretty good with Jason Robertson. So
before we go to the break, what's your answer to your own question?
I think weed's on sale in Michigan. No, I'm taking Kirill. I mean, that's me. I mean, you take him and put him on a line with, I don't care, Hintz and Rantanen in the playoffs to win a Stanley Cup. I'm here to win a Stanley Cup. I'm not going to go through the argument that he's only healthy and he's only played 70 games a year. I think this contract's going to make him probably play through things, and I think he plays through things anyways. But I know I would take him. I mean, if they're sitting right in front of me and the dollar amounts are the same, I know which guy I'm taking. And again, I understand Robo's a good goal scorer, but do you watch Kaprizov play in his own zone? Do you watch him play on the walls? Do you watch him play through the middle of the ice? You don't get the same thing. Sorry.
And that's fine. I'm also at the spot of I can't pay Jason Robertson $17 million. Can you pay someone on this Dallas Stars team $17 million when you know Thomas Harley is about to probably make around $12.5 to $13 million after Jackson frickin' Lacombe is making $9 million a year? So that is the spot where I'm going further on this. If Jason Robertson, there's a world where maybe I get Jason Robertson for 13.5, maybe, and that's feasible. But there's no way I would ever get Kaprizov for close to that. So I want Thomas Harley. I want to build around that. I'm looking at how I build this team to win a Stanley Cup. And for me, the whole Jason Robertson thing is important, but it's secondary. How do I get Thomas Harley signed and do all of that? We have to live in this cap world. And so if you had paid someone, if you pay Robertson's, like if Robertson's take it or leave it number is 15, 16 million in your Dallas, leave it. Fine. But you have to put your priority on Thomas Harley. And so that's when you bring up this, would you rather have Kaprizov or Robertson for 8 years? Kaprizov is a $17 million player. The Stars can't afford a $17 million.
How are you going to pay Robo 15 and you want to pay Harley's going to get 12?
How about we next segment on
See how Owen feels? See how
we're
Owen
going to
feels?
talk about Thomas Harley
how is it
right after this.
Chump seat.
Yeah.
But before that, let's talk about Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right with those decisions can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. You can get all kinds of projections like Saquon Barkley, more or less than 1 rushing touchdown. Josh Allen, more or less than 270 passing yards. It's really simple, just like that. Prize Picks is simple to play. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. It's also the best way to get in on the action in more than 40 states, including California, right here in Texas, and in Georgia. Puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure, and it offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, all kinds of things for easy deposits into your account. Download the app today and use code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
Is that Sam? Is that track done by you from your music career? That little underlie that I'm hearing.
You can hear it. We can't hear it here, but it's got vibes. It's got vibes.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely got some vibes. So college football is back. Pretty exciting. There's I know the Saturdays are. I was over at watching some college football with some friends on Saturday. But you know what's better than watching with your friends on television? It's going to the games. And there is no better app for get tickets than the Game Time app. Game Time app gives the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experience in a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use. The Game Time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay. I know Owen loves to talk about many things, but one of the things he raved about to us over and over again was his trip to watch the Boston Red Sox. He used the Game Time app and he got his tickets, and I can tell you from Owen's personal experience, because he did not stop talking about how wonderful that experience was.
He does not stop talking.
It does not. The lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, etc. You take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets or any tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code DLS for 20% off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DLLS for 20% off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today.
I will be Owen here. Thanks, Sean. Let's talk now about Thomas Harley. You brought it up. Excellent segue by both of you guys. We were originally going to talk about Luke Hughes. Luke Hughes signed 7 times $9 million with New Jersey. Was kind of the big story for the restricted free agents over there this summer. Then today we hear Jackson Lacombe, former Minnesota Golden Gopher, by the way, in the Big Ten, signs for 8 by 9. These are guys with less than 150 career games. What does this mean? Let's start this way. What does this mean for the market, Sean? But before we get to the Dallas Stars, where is this market going that these type of players are getting $9 million now?
Well, it's the cap is teams are picking priority positions and having to prioritize where that extra cap space is going. People say, "Oh, the cap's going up." It's not being spread around. There'll be a little trickle down, right, where it's like, "Hey, guys," but while the middle of the lineup, the lower level of the lineup are going to go up like $500,000, $750,000, maybe. It's at the top of your roster. Your true power players are going to be the ones that are going to eat up all of that extra cap space. Like multiple people have told me, like, hey, look, if the cap's going to go up by 4 or 5 million, it's going to go almost all of that's going to go to your top players. And so what is I brought up Harley earlier when we were talking about the Kaprizov versus Robertson thing and everything like that. One of the Stars' biggest priorities is having 2 number 1 defensemen in today's NHL. That is just it. Realistically, when you go into this season, if you were to, I'm not talking about depth 1 through 6. I'm talking about 1 and 2 on a team, right? How many teams have a better? How many teams would you take their first 2 defensemen over the Dallas Stars' first 2 defensemen? Just off the top of your head, like if you were given all cap spaces equal, everything like that, and if you were to say, okay, hey, I will trade Miro and Harley for any other team's top 2 defensemen. How many teams in the NHL would you make that trade for? There's probably only 3 or 4 that you would probably even consider, honestly.
If that.
So
I'd say Vegas, maybe. Probably not even then.
Vegas isn't the same as they used to be. I mean, yeah. I mean, you only need one of them.
Yeah, trade both of those.
You only need one of those guys. I think you can probably look at Florida. And again, I'm not saying that, but I think sometimes it's about a group for me. They're pairs. Yep. I mean, I think they got a good top 4. But yeah, I mean, you make a good point, Sean. But here's where I would ask you the question. Yeah. So Bouchard and Edmonton signed for, I think, 10-5 or 10, just a little bit over 10, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah. Who's better? Who's a better defenseman today?
Better defense today between Bouchard and Harley. If I'm picking
Sean,
one,
do you think Bouchard's better than Thomas right now?
No, I don't. I think Thomas Harley's better.
Okay, I agree with that. I think Thomas is, if not even. I give Harley a little bit more of an edge because I think he cares a little bit about not just the offensive zone. Then the other guy just seems to be tilted that way.
And he kind of has to be. They don't have that second guy in Edmonton the way they do here, with Miro and Harley both being able to be that.
They have one, but he's been hurt. But yeah. So, but I don't know. Like, I don't think that's a starting point. I mean, I don't know if you'd call that a starting point. Is he a starting point? Is that where the conversation starts with Jim Nill? I'm not talking about Harley's camp. I'm talking about Jim Nill's camp.
Yeah. And if you're Jim, the interesting thing about the Harley situation is, if you were Jim, I think you wouldn't be afraid to do a shorter deal. In most cases, I think a lot of GMs in Jim's spot wouldn't be afraid to do a shorter deal because they wouldn't have to live with the consequences 3 years from now, right? Like I think there is. Jim, one of the things we have to credit Jim for is, and it's his mantra that he uses, he has to worry about the future of the Stars today, tomorrow, 5 years from now. There's a lot of if Jim Nill is closest to the end of his career, there's a lot of GMs who are willing to pay for the immediate return right now that the next guy will have to fix up. Jim has intentionally been very good about not leaving a mess for whoever takes over for him next. But we have to give Jim credit for that. So if Jim was a different type of GM, I could easily see Thomas Harley get a shorter deal to make the Jason Robertson money work next year. I could easily see like, hey, let's go short term, more of a bridge, and then Thomas Harley can be an $18 million defenseman 4 years from now. Jim's MO is not to do that. Jim's MO is going to be to figure out how do we make the most so this cap situation continues to look good 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now. And that's something that not every GM does. So with Thomas Harley, if you're Jim, I think your number you're starting at 10.5, 11. I think that's where you start with Jim, knowing really well that the agent is going to come back at you probably at 13. I think that's where this conversation is start. Like I can picture a 13, 11 kind of conversation, and then Thomas Harley may end up at 12 and it becomes nice and clean and everything. The other thing is, it's interesting because you talk about how relationships have built and kind of Thomas Harley's agent is Andy Scott. You gave me crud for it on the show about putting Andy Scott third on the power rankings list, Luds. But Andy Scott is Mikko Rantanen's agent. He's Wyatt Johnston's agent. Him and Jim have together been shaping the Stars cap structure. They have spoken about what the next Thomas Harley deal looks like. It's the whole thing, like whether they've had the formal, we're going to sit down and hammer it out, or whether it's been in passing. There's no way they have not spoken about it. And I think they both know what type of territory this player is. And they both know the reality of if Thomas Harley has another Thomas Harley type year like he's had the past couple years, and then you add the potential amplification and growth of the Olympics, exactly, he is going to his stock is going to keep skyrocketing. So it is I think everyone here knows where this is going.
Robert, where does Miro's contract go? Does he hit 10 in his contract anywhere?
That
number?
No, it's 8.45, I think, right? So he's
I don't know. I know he's 9 or something like that. I just wondered.
Yeah, it's 8 something for the next till 2029 is when it ends.
So are we saying that Thomas, or is it just hitting the window at the right time? Is Thomas Harley $3 million better than Miro? And does Miro care? I mean, I don't think he does, to be honest with you, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, I don't fear. I think that there's a two-part answer to that. I don't think Miro cares. I think
Right.
I don't think Miro cares. I also think there's an understanding of you hit your window when you hit it. You can't control the market of when someone else signed or what it costs for someone else. Like it's just like if I go and buy, if you're a listener of the show and you go and buy a car today, right? Or you go and buy a house today. Let's use like I think a house is a better example. The housing market is more similar to NHL players. The house you're sitting in right now, it costs one thing if you buy it in 2022. If you buy it in 2024, it costs more. The crappier house might cost even more than that. And I think you got to look at it that way from I think that's the closest thing that maybe the everyday person has to an NHL player's salary thing is the housing market changes everything. The player market changes everything. It goes up. The NHL player market's never going to go down, like, knock on wood, probably never going to go down like the housing market has in the past. So if to say Thomas Harley is a $3 million better player than Miro Heiskanen, that isn't a fair conversation to have. If they were signing at the same time, Miro would sign for $5 million more, but they're not signing at the same time, and we can't live in that vacuum. I think that's the thing that a lot of people get caught up on, and that's the thing where people are going to compare that to Kaprizov, going back to the other thing. So,
and security too. You're also selling. Look, this long-term deal, you're getting your bag, right? You have the security. Whatever happens, you know that you're getting this amount of money, right? 12 times or whatever. You're getting $96 million. That's what you can go to, if you're Jim, that's what you go to Andy Scott and say, look, here's the thing. You can't control all these forces in the market and everything. Yeah, the cap's going up, but people get hurt. We see it all the time. Right now, I can guarantee you can walk away with $96 million guaranteed or whatever it is, right? That's what you start with. And that's part of the pitch. Even though, yes, the market's going up. Yes, you could go to another team and probably get more and be the number one guy on a worse team. But if you want to compete for a Stanley Cup, if you want to, keep being this headline guy, and $96 million is enough for you over the next 8 years, and then, you get another Joe Pavelski deal when you're 34 or whatever, that's not a bad sales pitch to give.
Okay. Yeah. I'm starting. Good job,
yeah,
Ryan.
I was pointing at him. He had it, though.
A little authority with that bell. If I say Pavelski, hit the bell. Oh, Jesus, Tinkerbell. Okay, so I ask you, and I'm going to ask all three of you. You can only pick one. Do you take Harley or do you take Heiskanen?
Heiskanen.
You take Heiskanen?
Yeah.
Sean?
Miro. That's 100% it's Miro.
You're taking Miro?
Yeah, Miro.
I think Miro, yes. Miro, I think, has shown he can be the guy over long periods of time, and I haven't seen that from Harley yet.
Okay.
He might grow into it, but as of right now, I think I would take Miro.
Yeah. And to answer your question, Luds, your other question, Miro's base salary according to Puckpedia, he made 10 in 2022, 2023.
So he does hit 10.
11, and he's making 11 again this year.
So he hits
Base
11.
Salary. Yep.
Okay.
Then he goes down to 9.
dollars. Yeah.
All
His
right.
base salary with
Yeah.
all the bonuses.
But that's not cap hit. That's salary.
No,
right?
I'm just
That's
saying
right.
he was asking if it ever hit that in terms of
Yeah.
actual salary. So
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
Yeah, but Sam, if we were going to use
Don't do it. Don't do it, Sean. Don't do it. Hold that thought.
I'm not holding it because Owen's not here
He's
yelling.
not going to hold it.
Here's
I
the
knew he
thing.
wouldn't.
Talk.
Here's the thing. If you're going to use what base salary is, Kaprizov is making $1 million this year. So you're going to tell me we're going to have to compare everything to what? If you're in the Minnesota Wild, you're going to say, "Oh man, is this third line checker?"
ALLCITY Diehard sale. Our latest Diehard sale is in full swing.
After this, we're going to talk about fear next
I
on
thought it was
DLS.
Our latest Diehard sale is in full swing, and fans now have 2 ways to join. This damn mic is flopping around. You can get in for just $36 with limited edition shirt, or you can step up and grab a limited branded Bills Diehard hat for $59 before they sell out. Maybe you've had your eyes on one of our great t-shirts like the Finnish Mafia, the Otter shirt, maybe the 16-bit Wyatt Johnston shirt, or the Mikko Moose shirt, and in remembrance of Jamie Ben's shirt. Whichever one you want as your free t-shirt when you sign up to be a diehard. Or go bigger and get your hands on the Branded Bills Diehard hat. They're limited, so hurry on those hats. Once they're gone, they're gone. Either way, you get all the diehard perks. Premium content, including excellent written articles by these 2 clowns next to me about the Stars, Cowboys, Mavericks, and Rangers, event and merch discounts, the members-only Discord, and more. Join now and become a diehard at ALLDLLS. That's alldallas.com/intro. 1 minute on the button.
Perfect. That was perfect. Thanks, Luds.
Oh, you're welcome.
Let me
Sam.
talk to you about the Supporters Club. If you haven't already heard about the Supporters Club, go ahead and look in the chat and you will see the ones who have joined. Their badges pop out. The Supporters Club is for the real ones, or as our GM Ben likes to say, true sicko level stuff. You get exclusive badges, as I just mentioned, that shows you all kinds, pops out in the chat so we can answer your questions first. And if you look at the bottom of the screen, if you're watching right now, you get exclusive emojis to use. Bing Bong is a favorite. There's a bunch of other ones. And apparently, according to our GM, the more people that join, the more emojis that we get. So if we want a Craig Ludwig emoji, join the Supporters Club.
What would that look like, Sam?
I think it would be
Just
your cartoon.
a
with
beer mug?
with the hair, or just a beer mug, anything like that. But you also get access to behind the scenes footage, like the video we filmed that is now out there. It's classic stuff. You're going to want to watch it. You will not feel achieved in your life if you don't watch what we did before that game, that preseason game up in the studio. So join the Supporters Club today. All right, guys, this is going to be a very open-ended segment. We completely skipped a segment, as Sean, good call, by the way, to switching them, because we skipped over one of them. But in this segment, I want to ask you each your biggest fears for this team heading into this season. If you had to, anything that's on your mind, what other than eating cereal and watching All My Children keeps you up at night about the Dallas Stars right now?
An injury to our goaltenders, but
Okay.
goaltender.
Okay.
Yeah, I want Otter to be healthy all year long. That's my biggest fear.
And what?
Because sitting here today, and you guys just told me that Dallas is number 2 in the West, right? Right now? No, in the whole league.
Whole league. Power rankings. Yep,
Okay,
NHL.com.
number 2. I'm not sure who was drinking to make
they
those
were selling
picks,
the same stuff as Michigan.
and I think a lot of that would be based on 2 people, and the same 2 people that got them into the 3rd round, and that's Mikko and Otter. And I think if I have to lose one of them, just hoping that none of that happens,
yep.
I don't want to lose Otter. There you go.
Okay.
I have said actually this before, that for me, injury, actually, of course, injuries always happen, but for me, it might almost be worse for the Stars if Mikko Rantanen just doesn't quite find that level, right, away from McKinnon, and
Or fit in.
or fit in.
Yep.
It just doesn't quite click, right? Here's the guy. He's the foundation of the forward group. $12 million player, first year of an 8-year deal. What happens if it just isn't getting going? You're looking for that mix and trying to find it and get it to work, and it's not working. I mean, we saw it. He exploded, obviously, for some legendary playoff games, but there were also some games where it wasn't quite working. We saw it down the stretch in the regular season. So what do you do if in the first year of an 8-year deal, that's just not working? that's one where, especially as a new coach, suddenly a lot of pressure starts coming, I think, pretty quickly, that you were really hoping that sort of deal would lessen. It could work exactly the other
and they're
way.
relying on him, right? Goldson's talked about it. I mean, we saw him in the last preseason game. He stays out for the full 2 minutes of power plays. He's probably going to play your most minutes like he did in Colorado. Not going to play to that level, but a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
What would they, I guess, what game do they get to where they start panicking a little? You know, if Glenn Goldson gets to game 40 and Mikko Rantanen just hasn't found his game, is that a panic level? And he's like, we need to figure this out right now.
He said he's not married to anything, right? Yep. So we could see him playing with different centers. It's probably the first thing you do. Say, oh, if it's not working with Rope, maybe try it with Wyatt or whatever. Again, this is all hypothetical. Historically, he's been one of the best players in the league over the last, however many, one of the top 15 players easily, wherever you want to put him in there. And we've seen what he can do single-handedly too. But if it doesn't click for whatever reason, and you start getting all those whispers about, away from McKinnon or all this stuff, you could see the pressure on him and the pressure on everyone else starting to mount.
I think that part of that responsibility falls on Robo if they play together, because Mikko to me is more of a distributor first, and he is a great distributor. He can do the other stuff, but for him to do what he has to do, somebody has to be able to finish it, and it probably Robo.
Sean,
I have two. My first one is
Sam Steele. I don't know.
My first biggest fear is that I was wrong about Glenn Goldson. Me and the Stars were wrong about Glenn Goldson. That's my first biggest fear, is that he, he went and had that experience, but he's not a good game manager. He can't adjust on the fly, and it's a big difference between being an assistant coach and a head coach, and he's not the guy, and he's not the right guy for the job. That's the biggest fear number one. Biggest fear number two that has developed in the last 2 weeks for me is Jamie Benn is really such the foundation of this team that no one else has stepped in to fill in. And that leads to other spirals. We have seen, now I think this team is much better than the 2016-17 team, but we saw the team in 2016-17 spiral because of injury, and after a year where they had the best record in the Western Conference. I don't think Jamie's injury is the catalyst for that, but my fear would be Jamie Benn is such the foundational footprint of this Stars team, and they continue to double down and bet on that now that he's been removed by injury, and it's required for other guys to step up. What if nobody steps up? What if nobody does it? And then this team is so reliant on Jamie when he comes back that it puts so much pressure on him that is unfair on his 36-year-old body to even be able to do that. That's my biggest fear that has developed in the past 2 weeks of somebody. Is there a leadership person or group or somebody in that room that is ready for what needs to be done for this group while Jamie Benn is out? Because if it doesn't happen, all of a sudden Jamie comes back with intense additional pressure on everything else, and then we are just getting closer and closer to the playoff problem where Jamie is the only tough guy in the room, and then the Stars get pushed around. That's my biggest fear.
I'm going to use one of your lines.
Oh, that's a bad idea.
Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't you the one probably when the whole coaching thing first started, you mentioned Gully's name right off the top, correct?
Yep.
Okay, then
correct.
Why do you have some doubt then?
I don't have doubt.
I don't want to say doubt, not doubt, but what you said.
There's a difference between doubt and biggest fear. My biggest fear is that's my legit biggest fear is going to be I was wrong. Like I'm saying I was wrong because it's going to mean bad things for the Stars. It's going to mean horrible things for me too. That clip is going to be. I'm well aware how the internet works. That clip is going to be if Glenn Goldson is fired after one season. If Glenn Goldson is fired after one season, I will be all over whatever social media platform is big of old takes exposed and everything like that. And I will be the guy that, oh my God, look at this idiot. Look at this guy. He thinks he's a hockey writer. He thought Glenn Goldson was the coach.
Nobody remembers stuff that happens on our show. Come on.
I'll bring it up.
Yeah. No, but like that's so you say fear, right? Like I don't, I'm not, it's the same reason I wear a seatbelt when I drive a car. I don't think I'm going to get in a car crash and die, but I'm scared of dying. So
yeah, Sean, where's your confidence level then in him? Like you just said, you don't think it's going to happen, but where do you stand with him right now on a scale, I guess, of 1 to 100? Where's your confidence in Glenn Gulutzan. Yeah, let's go 1 to 276.
83 for ALLCITY.
Perfect.
That's my
perfect.
What did you say? 1 to 236?
No, realistically, like, how confident are you that it's gonna work with him?
After 5 preseason games, is he on the hot seat? Is that the question here? Yeah, good
he's
point.
4-1.
4-1.
Yeah.
4-1.
Yes, it's exactly the point.
I would put if in a more realistic 1 to 10 scale that most humans use, Sam, I would go at 8. So,
And I, you know what? And I would say that when Sean originally brought him up, and I like Gully, I was unsure about him only because of, you know, having some head coaching experience with a veteran, more of a veteran team as a head coach. And I've done a 180. I think he is the right guy. And I'm not worried about it. And I think I'm not worried about it because of his demeanor. The way I think he knows when to flip a switch and be hard on the guys. And I'm talking verbally or, you know, in the room, getting your face. I think he's more of a communicator. And maybe he's learned that through the other 2 guys he had the privilege of coaching in Edmonton. But anyway, so I'm more bullish now that he's here probably than when Sean originally mentioned his name.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to ask you, Robert, because they listen to us talk all the time. How have you been at the rink every day? How have you seen Glenn take this role and kind of start to mold his team?
I think that if Gulutzan, quote unquote, fails or it doesn't go well, it won't be because of him in the same way we kind of saw it sort of was, you know, Pete was making decisions and doing things. Gulutzan won't get himself into that sort of situation, most likely. If it doesn't go right for Gulutzan, it'll be because of the players. It'll be because the goalie gets hurt and they can't figure out a way to kind of hold things together. It'll be because people are underperforming and you can't find a way to get everything going. He's been really clear from day one in his press conference, even when he was in Edmonton. Part of his philosophy, you hear the phrase road hockey all the time. He wants players playing. He doesn't want them thinking too much or saying, I have to do this one thing or go this one route or look for this one shot. He wants players, especially elite players, doing what they do best. And he doesn't want to get in the way. So it'll either work or it won't. But if it doesn't work, it's not going to be because he's handcuffing them or because his system isn't quite finding a way. It'll be because the players aren't quite finding a way to get it done.
And I would answer Sean's question when he brought up Jamie. I immediately, when Sean's talking, which is a great point about Jamie Benn and stuff, like I immediately go to Matt Duchene and Tyler Seguin. That's who I think grab it. And maybe just because they're the veteran guys, Duchene is hungry. He there's something there that's missing from him. And Tyler's hungry. He wants another one before he has to finish. So I would think that those 2 guys would be, and I think they will be until Jamie gets back, being, you know, part of that picking up the slack, what Jamie brings. Not from the physical standpoint, what you're talking about, but everything else.
I'll say Mikko too, because we asked about this.
That's true.
It was Glenn or Jim, but they both pointed to how, you know, he's not necessarily going to wear a letter right off the bat because you don't want to take him away from
which
you know,
he doesn't
Tyler
need
or Matt.
to.
But he doesn't need to. And already I've seen, I'm sure Sam's seen it too, just kind of behind the scenes and how he interacts in the room. It's really common to walk in there and see Mikko Rantanen talking with Sam Steele and whoever's next to him, right? Who just happens to be around. Yeah, apparently he's first line left winger. It's really common. He's not someone who's just kind of, I'm going to do my thing. I'm a superstar and maybe I've got my guys or whatever. He is very much a part of that room and that matters to him. I mean, you heard him use the phrase, these are my brothers, about Colorado last year. And you can see that's how he's approaching this room too. These are his brothers now. And he really takes that responsibility seriously.
How much of this, before we go to the next break, I'm curious, how much of this is us being around? Because Sean always talks about, like, you know, of course the Dallas Stars are going to say Jamie Benn's the best leader in the game. Everyone's going to say that about their captain. How much of it, because to me, this looks like one of the most elite, deep leadership groups in the NHL. Is that just because we're watching this team so much and we're around them? Or is it rare air that the amount of people they have in there that have either won a cup or been around? Mikko Rantanen's been around the superstars. Tyler Seguin's that have been around forever. How good is this leadership group compared to the rest of the league in your mind?
I can't answer that, in all honesty, because there's a reason you don't see me at the rink. I don't. I mean, there's one guy there that I know that I'm really, really fond of, and that's Jamie. But I don't go there because, and I never, even when I was doing the other thing, I didn't go into that room. I didn't talk to guys because I would feel uncomfortable saying things about them when you're, you know, I mean, critiquing them, I guess.
Yeah.
And I just prefer to stay away and just kind of see it from a distance. And I think some of us been around long enough, you can kind of tell the way certain guys handle certain situations during games, after games, you know, just from watching and seeing them practice here and there. You can kind of see who's kind of driving the bus at times. And when somebody isn't, you can tell who stands up. And I've heard about exactly what you're talking about. I've heard about Mikko. I've heard a couple of interviews that he took, and I'm like, it seems like he's been on this team for 4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And and
really
so I
does.
get that impression. I mean, within his second interview that I saw, and I'm like, that's great.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna hit the.
You
Sean,
always got
Sean, you're good. Go ahead.
I'm going after this break. So I would say this on it. The other thing I said when I made the bold claim of, hey, the Stars should hire Glenn Goldson, I said they should make Mikko Rantanen the captain then. So I truly believe in Mikko Rantanen's leadership ability. In fact, he may be the captain of Team Finland at the Olympics now after the Barkov injury. He's going to be one of the guys in the running for that. It's an interesting spot, Sam, to answer your question on how deep is this team. Like, how many guys on this team have actually won a Stanley Cup? I think Luds has as many rings as the entire roster, doesn't he?
It's 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean,
just be Tyler Mikko, right?
Tyler Mikko,
yeah. So Luds has 2 rings. The entire Stars roster has two rings. So I wouldn't go that far to be like, look how deep this leadership group is.
And that's why I'm asking, Sean, because like that's the way you kind of get stuck in your own head when you're around a team so much, right?
Yeah, well, I think I will say this about the Stars. There are other NHL teams that I think the Stars are a very close group, and you can actually see it around that group. There are other teams where you can see more of the they might not have, like, the thing. One of the reasons I think Jamie's leadership works and why that group does is because Jamie has the vocal lieutenant, and Tyler Seguin has had them, and that Matt Duchene has realized he needed the vocal lieutenant. I've seen other captains in the NHL who are more of that lead by example guy who haven't had that vocal lieutenant, and those groups where you find the disconnect between leadership and everyone else. So I will say this about the Stars. I think it is a leadership group when Jamie is healthy that is built well from that perspective. And I think you have some really good pieces that can take that. It's just more of a question now without Jamie there to be the kind of focal point. Is someone going to step into that void? And it's just going to be interesting to watch. And it's, as Lud said, we can observe and do all of that. The only person who can give a real answer to us is the players. And the only way we'll get a real answer on that, we'll never get a real answer, because they're always going to rave about what's done. So it's an interesting thing, but the truth serum, I would love the truth serum on it. So I have to, sure. guys, great
Thanks,
show.
Sean.
Everybody wave goodbye to Sean.
I have to balance important family things, but I will be on tomorrow, and thank you. And you guys are in better hands because Robert's there and I'm not. So later.
All right, thanks, Sean. Next on DLS, we will hit some diehard questions from the Discord and go free for all. Next up here.
Speaking of free for all, is that what this is?
This is a free for all.
Well, I don't
know. I want to talk about becoming a diehard because
I'm told to.
In about
Are you
a minute and 50 seconds.
Are you an official diehard?
I don't know. I can read my own articles, so I would imagine. In about a minute and 45 seconds now, we are going to use diehard questions from the Discord. Those are only diehards. If you're a diehard, you get access to the Discord, which all kinds of crazy conversations in there about movies and things like that. But the Stars channel, the one I actually can follow somewhat, is a bunch of crazy fans talking during games, pre-games, during the shows, asking questions, and then we asked for questions when we have guests. I think we asked Eddie Belfour a few of their questions. We used to have Lud's damn Discord, which I'm sure we will bring back this season, and we're about to have more questions for the full panel up here from you guys today. So become a diehard, because if you do right now, you can do it for either $36 for the regular diehard intro offer, or $59 to get yourself one of these beautiful Brandon Bills hats, which I've been wearing. The Yosemite Sam one is fantastic. So go become a diehard now. Another thing about being a diehard, Luds, we have our first ever takeover. DLS Stars is taking over for a game in December, I think.
Are you talking about the Hooters?
Is it December?
Are we talking about the Hooters
December
party?
7th.
December 7th.
Look at that, December 7th.
Oh, yeah,
DLS
we're going
Stars
to Hooters.
Crew. We have fans that are coming in to watch the pregame show live. Then we're going down to Hooters to
Where are we
have some
going?
food.
Hooters?
Oh,
right.
For some
We're
food.
going
Then we're
Hooters.
going to the AAC, where we're all going to sit together and watch a game. There you go, on the colored bus, as Les says. But the reason I'm bringing this up
It's
is
the
because
Shabuzi bus.
that is all sold out, folks. And we're
going to have dinner at Shabuzi's right across the street.
We gave that offer to the diehards first and almost sold out all of our tickets immediately. So become a diehard. Not only do you get instant or exclusive access first, you also get 20% off all events and merch.
Good
That's
job.
it.
4
Thank you.
seconds.
Yeah, I think I was supposed to do something else. That's okay. let's hit this because we have a bunch of questions from those diehards. So let's just go kind of free for all here. There's some that are for specific people, some that are for.
I hope they're all for Robert. We should get Robert on the hot seat.
Let's see what we got. All right, a couple of these we already did about Luke Hughes, Jackson Lacombe extension. So we're gonna skip that. That's from Landon. Let's go to Matthew. Says, how confident are you guys that Justin Ritzkovian will be the guy to fill in for Ben while he's out, or do you see someone else that takes that spot?
Huh? I was reading something
Robert,
from
you go.
Rick Renner
he
sent me
wasn't
something,
listening.
so I was reading.
I mean, I think Ritzkovian has the edge on any of the other guys that are fighting for that spot just based on his last couple of games. But also, I mean, here's the thing: Austin isn't that far away, right? So if they want to,
Cedar
if they want a different
even
look,
higher
or
than
whatever-
that,
yeah, Cedar Park. Sorry, if they want a different look, they've got it right there. It just depends, right?
Yep.
But based on what we've seen in the preseason, I think Justin Ritzkovian, he brings a lot of energy. If he's got some scoring ability, certainly in the AHL, he showed that last year. And obviously, you don't expect that to translate to the NHL, but I think
Is
right
he an
now,
everyday player?
I think he can be. Yeah, I think he can be if he's in the right role.
Yep.
But he brings that energy on the wing. Like really, if you throw him on that left wing with, let's say, Wyatt and Maverick Bork or whatever, it's a smaller line. But if you're able to use it, especially at home, you deploy it kind of how you want to. I think he can be a useful player there for at least while Jamie's out.
Yeah,
right?
for
For
the time
82
being.
games, I don't know. He
Yeah.
still has to prove that.
Does he have any grit to him? Like when you say smaller line.
I think he
Mhm.
plays really hard.
He does.
I think
He
that's
does.
the key. There's some guys that maybe don't go fully into a battle here and there. He
Drops the
plays
gloves.
bigger than he is,
Yeah.
and he'll fight. He says it's kind of his thing. He's fought both in his preseasons.
Yep.
I think he's a player that can bring it. He's not going to be your big Jamie Benn guy, but he brings a little added stuff to it instead of just the scoring. All right, next up, to all. What is one thing that needs to be added or changed to help Dallas get over the Western Conference final stump? That's from Sarah Maynard.
I think the $12 million guy. We brought that.
Yeah. Is that?
I mean,
enough?
that's why he's here.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that the obvious answer? I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Did we bring anything else?
I think that's why you got Glenn Golicin. Really, that's the answer. Is you want to change some of the things that
Is he playing
Edmonton
right
was just
wing or
doing.
is he playing left wing?
I think that they saw enough of what Edmonton was doing, just outplaying them, that they decided we need to make a
So
bigger
if you
change
can't,
than just
in other
go
words,
for
if
one
you
player.
can't get by that team, let's bring somebody in that knows that team better
Yeah.
than anybody else.
take
we
their
could
power
bring
play
in.
coach and let's see
There you go.
let's see if they can
Don't
outfox
disagree with that.
Nasruddin now. Yeah,
Don't
Maybe
disagree
that'll
with
do
that.
it. Maybe that'll
And
do
that's
it.
going to be cover number 97. There you go.
Ryan, before we get
luck.
to the next question, you want to hit that bing bong? All right, bing bong. We have a super chat from Burned Oils. When Owen isn't there, Luds is more free to talk, and I like that.
No, you just get more chances to talk.
Thanks, Burned Oils. We appreciate you. All right, let's keep moving here. So this is an interesting one from Tyler HK93. We're seeing the current top dogs bet heavily on this year and next, like Edmonton and Florida. Do you think Dallas is taking a bit of a hit by paying their big boys so they can really go for it in a few years? AKA, instead of Dallas is kind of doing that floating thing that we've been talking about, right? They stay competitive. They're not going all in, but they're also not going down. Is that a bad thing instead of trying to go all in on maybe this year or next year?
I don't think it's a bad thing because, as we said, the cap's going to keep going up. And again, they're not going to be high-paid players in 2-3 years. They're going to be almost middle of the road of top six players. And I think, obviously, Jim and Janko and his whole crew are doing it so that when that next guy comes along, when you're looking for that next piece, if you're still looking for another piece, like right now, I think they're looking for another piece, aren't they? I mean, how can we say that they're not?
Feels like it.
I mean, if that piece comes along, whether it's this year or next year, cap goes up. That's what they're doing.
Yep. And the next question goes right into that. It's kind of a joking one, but I'm going to read it anyway. AC the Giant and Matthew say, predict the Stars trade deadline. More specifically, what are their odds in getting Sidney Crosby or Connor McDavid?
Don't count out Sid. I mean, you don't know.
That was the main question, was where are their chances in the Sidney
the other
Crosby
guy,
sweepstakes?
please. But, yeah.
All indications are that Sid keeps saying, I don't want to leave, but also that his agent is saying, yeah, I don't know how tough it is not making the playoffs every
After
year.
the first 20 games and
So-
they're 3-17.
But he's got two other cities that I think keep coming up much more often than anywhere else.
Do you think he wants to go to Montreal? More
That's what
so
everyone
than
seems
Colorado?
That's the thing that
It
surprises
just
me
seems
a
like
little bit.
if you're going to move, you're going to go someplace. You're moving because you want to win a cup.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that
Colorado's a little closer to
little
Montreal
closer,
right
yeah.
now.
You need to play with McKinnon. This just feels like an easy.
Yeah.
All right, this one's from Kleb for all of you.
And McCarr.
Yeah. Yeah,
pretty
but
good.
McKinnon, they played together, didn't they? And they're good friends, McKinnon
I
and
don't
Crosby.
know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Olympics.
from
Yeah.
Kleb, for all of you, what's one thing around the Stars or hockey in general that's giving you joy right now? What hockey-related thing is bringing you joy?
For me, like the summer when you don't have, the rhythm of practices, or I mean, you guys have shows, right? So you get to hang out. But for me, actually being around the rink and being around people and just kind of seeing everyone back together, seeing them building towards something and prepare, like there's a genuine excitement. They haven't lost a game yet,
Yeah,
right?
perfect.
So you don't really have any of that pressure quite yet, just kind of the overall pressure. So for me, genuinely just actually getting to talk about real hockey and watch real hockey is worlds better than the summer. So
Game 5.
You finally got to it. I was going to say there's only one preseason game left.
Exactly.
That's what's bringing me joy.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, next up from Harry Wagstaff, favorite Halloween candy? Robert.
I actually like candy corn. Not too much, but I do like it. In small amounts,
Not in
seasonally.
slices,
It's like turkey.
not in
I don't want turkey
slices,
every day, but
not
turkey
in-
Thanksgiving's great.
Not candy corn slices.
Candy corn
Put
is
on
a
your
nice little
sandwich.
treat. I don't need it year round, but
Right,
it's
lads?
great.
Miller Lite.
Ryan, what's your favorite Halloween candy?
Tootsie Rolls.
Ooh, that's nice.
Huh.
I'm gonna go 100
call.
grand.
Not a candy guy.
I'm gonna go 100 grand. That's
yeah.
one I haven't discovered.
Okay, that's
I
an
just-
elite candy bar for sure.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Schmidt happens. Help settle a household Halloween argument. Candy corn, is it the best ever, as my wife would claim, or is it absolute trash, as I would claim? You just answered that you like it.
I
It's
think,
your favorite.
yeah, you shouldn't eat it for every
Is it
meal
the
or
best
whatever.
ever,
but I
Best ever Halloween candy. If you could have one, is that it?
if you're talking about like trick or treating, I don't want it. It's a different thing. Like one's seasonal, like you can have 100 grand at any time of year. It's a candy bar.
Correct.
Go buy it at the store.
Correct.
But candy corn is specifically linked to a holiday, right?
Yeah.
So
You
for
can
me,
you can have candy corn too. You just
why
lick
all these
you
people? It's like the
you just-
worst or the best.
You just
all
lick
this
a candle
internet
and
stuff.
get it out
Actually,
of candy
so I used to work at a candy store back in the day,
Oh.
and there's candy corn for Christmas, Thanksgiving, Memorial Day. It's all holiday.
Memorial
It's
Day
available.
candy
Memorial
corn.
It's like
candy
red, white,
corn.
and blue.
Is it red, white, and blue?
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Really?
It all,
Does it taste just as bad as it normally does?
That's
or
the
what?
worst thing I've ever heard.
First of all, candy corn is awesome.
It's
In small
good.
doses.
If you like just licking
in
candles,
small
it-
doses,
it's
exactly. In
perfect.
small
Small
doses.
doses.
Luds, do you like candy corn?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. From Coach Davis. I'm not even reading these before I'm reading them out loud, so this is a dangerous game we're
Yeah,
playing.
I can tell.
Coach Davis, what changes have you seen from goalie's scheme that are different from Pete DeBoer's offensively and defensively? This is a big topic.
I want
Let's
Sam to
say
go
quick.
first here.
Me?
Yeah.
I've talked about it a bunch. Freedom. I think they're free to make plays. You just said it before. Goalie is preaching. He wants to have a foundation set so they know what to fall back on, like getting to their own net first, those kind of things. But he wants them to make plays, and that's the key in breakouts. That's the key on even power play. They're going to have multiple options, unpredictability. I think goalie is giving them the freedom to make plays, and I think this team has enough high-end elite players to have success with that.
The one anecdote I'll share really quickly. I was talking to Oscar Beck the other day about this as someone who came up as a center, but then started playing winger last year, and now it looks like he's probably going to be playing winger again this year. And the sentence he used the other day was, "In this system, when you're a winger in goalie system." Because the centers, as I think you've talked about, have a little bit more responsibility. But wingers, it's a little clearer as opposed to, just anyone could be anywhere because you got to have your guy. And so in this system, I think it'll be a lot clearer. The centers are going to have very defined responsibilities in a certain way, and wingers are going to be true
As
wingers.
it should be. For 116 years, centermen play down low with their defensemen who are in the vicinity of the net, which is perfect. So, yes, wingers play on the wall, get the puck in, get the puck out.
And when you have the centers the Stars have, why wouldn't you want to ask a little bit more of them? They've got a great group of those, top three, even top four centers. With
Which
Fox
is
down
where, and
It
we've
makes
talked about
sense.
this before, why it's going to have to be a little bit better in his
Yes.
own zone, right?
Yes.
And
Yes, he will.
I think they try to put him in PK. And to be a centerman, there's a lot of responsibility. There's a hell of a lot more responsibility with that than there is anywhere else. But as we try to teach players all the time, when you're coming back into your zone, defending, getting back into your defensive zone, and if you're the first, say you're the right winger that comes back, you are now the centerman. You don't get down there and you don't just go to your wing and your centerman picks up your wing. So you have to learn the positions and be in the right spot so you can change off.
Rapid fire. Who's the next captain of the Dallas Stars?
Wyatt Johnston. His locker's next to
Miro.
Jamie's.
Miro, really? Okay. I'm going to say Wyatt. The reason I'm asking, people are asking about Mikko a lot, as Sean was just talking about. Will Nick Robertson ever play for the Dallas Stars?
No.
Okay. Last one. That was the last one. I thought there was one more. That's it. We got through it. We didn't mess it up too bad. We didn't embarrass ourselves too much. Thanks for joining. Robert Tiffin, go check him out. Stars Thoughts on Substack. Craig Ludwig, Sam Nestler, Sean Shapiro, Ryan, our man behind the scenes. We will be back tomorrow, 2 o'clock for another show.
It's just that easy.
See y'all.
It's just simple.
I'd like to use a couple C words.
We all silly like the mayor.